I've heard you say that one day you will sell your catalog. Is that the approaching?
Is this where Russ said selling his catalog would be like selling a piece of his soul, right?
Music is the sound of the soul, and you're saying that there's a price tag on it.
You can also sell your catalog, buy hella real estate, and pass that down. What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Music Entrepreneur Club. I'm taking over intro duties. I don't remember what Payne says every week, but this is the realest, most genuine music business podcast on the planet. How are we doing today? Erinn, how you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm in kind of an ambiguous floating space, just figuring things out, but signed a new contract with my company, hopefully signing a new contract for myself. So I'm grateful for those things. I'm just like floating at this point, but I'm back in Austin. I still got to sweat on my walk yesterday, which is a blessing because it's been cold everywhere else that I've been. So I'm feeling good.
Nice. So we jumped into our wins too, Payne. So that means how you feeling? Give us your win. We're trying to be more efficient this episode so we can get to more topics, give you guys more information. So that's what we'll try to do. Payne, what you got for us?
Can you come in here? I'm having a horrible week, but my win is that I have my mom's here. I just want to shout her out and all my. You're on our podcast now,
Mama
This
Payne.
is Erinn. This is Dame. Well, the camera's here, so
Right.
okay. But it's in the So my win is that I have a strong support system. So when the tragedy struck, I don't even remember it, but I just know that within an hour, my house was full of friends and mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers. So that felt, I mean, reflecting back on it, it felt good. Nothing feels good, but you know what I mean? It's just, it's amazing to have that kind of system. And I love all the people around me dearly.
Gotta have a strong support system, especially as we get older and deal with more bullshit. As an artist or a creator, the highs and lows, man, it's so important to have a strong support system. My win is going to be Laugh related. Laugh being the show that Ja's currently working on that will come out on Tubi in January, putting together the soundtrack. And I think I have most of the songs. So that's my win. I've tracked down songs from Coyote, from Crooked Eye, from Keon Bell, from Daisy Lynn, Nilla All In. Who am I missing? I got like 10 songs. It's dope. Like it's coming together. December, we're gonna figure out how to start seeding some of the content so that there's a build up to the release of Laugh, so people know what it is before it even drops. Delayed in the production, but that's just how. Well, no, I'm not gonna accept that's just how it goes, because one of the things that we are going to do in 2026 is just get more organized and more efficient so we can get more shows out. We have to get more shows out the door. So, yes, sometimes things go over budget. Sometimes there are delays, but there's a lot of that stuff that's within our control that we're going to fix going forward. So we're just identifying what that is, what additional resources we need, what additional people we need. And hopefully you'll see a lot more stuff. Collaboration is going to be a big part of 2026. Like that's obviously one of the ways you get out more content is you just collaborate with more folks. So we've been on several calls, to pull Ja out of the director role. Some projects he'll just be acting in. Sometimes we've already talking with Houston, some folks in Houston for Laugh Houston. So anyway, those are my wins. Let's jump into some of these topics. We're going to try to get to more today. Payne, you want to start it off?
Sure, and then we can jump into Eric Bellinger right after because it's related. Let me share my screen very quickly. So this came as a shock to me. Someone told me that Udio was down. I click on it, and here's this message from the CEO of Udio talking about their historic partnership with UMG. We knew this was coming. We've talked about this multiple times. We knew that the course of action these labels would take subsequent to the big lawsuit, is a partnership. So they're talking about a whole partnership with UMG, and as a result, what ended up happening was basically Udio is no longer functional. So if you were a user, even if you paid, you can't download any of the content that you created. They've taken everything down. And just to be clear, this is the website that creates all of those 70s song parodies, including BBL Drizzy. So BBL Drizzy, which was sampled by Metro for the Drake diss, which was sampled by Tay Keith on Sexy Red song with Drake, You My Everything, which is a hit song. That's the site that created they I feel like compared to Suno, they're the ones that make the kind of lower quality but more vintage sounding tracks. And so in my opinion, they sounded better, or at very least realer. So users are mad. Ultimately, what it seems like it's going to become is a UMG run site that you can use to create remixes using UMG artists' voices. If they've opted in, you can create mashups to certain artists on the UMG roster songs. And to me, that sounds incredibly boring compared to what it was. Not that I agreed with what it was, but it'd be like going from selling cocaine to selling blow pops. You know what I mean? Like, it's not good to use cocaine, but all of a sudden your deal is like, you know what? After careful consideration, I made a partnership, a strategic partnership with the Mars Corporation, and from now on, you guys are getting packs
Blow
of
and
gum.
blow, right? It's the same thing.
Thank you, Erinn. So the new licensing framework is the agreement includes new licensing deals covering both UMG's recorded music and its publishing catalog, because they have both. So it's going to be huge. They're going to have a lot of stuff in there. Let's see, it's subscription based. So that's all launching in 2026. It says this is important. The generative AI technology will be trained exclusively on authorized and licensed music. So from UMG. So I'm guessing they got a good deal with UMG where UMG dropped the lawsuit, and likely if UMG drops the lawsuit, maybe the other labels are going to drop the lawsuit. Who knows what kind of money we're talking here? I'm sure Udio CEO was like, I don't want to keep fighting a multi-billion-dollar company. Let's just capitulate. We've made our money. So here's what it says. It says restrictions on current Udio platform until the new service launches. Udio's existing tools will remain available with new safeguards. So you can't, it's walled. So you can't export any of the songs. There is now fingerprinting and filtering. And it says this is an industry shift. The settlement marks a potential shift in the music industry strategy towards AI, moving from broad legal opposition to structured collaboration. In other words, centralization. Exactly what we said was good. I mean, anyone could have seen this miles away. The lingering question for me is, this is just one label that did this. UMG their artists can opt out of this or opt in. I'm sure there's a huge financial incentive for them to opt in. I'm sure they're putting pressure on them. Like, this is the future. This is where the labels are going. You better opt in if you want this money. It'd be like streaming artists not opting into streaming. But did the artists on UMG have any say in how the negotiations were handled, how the splits are being handled, how everything's being prorated, etc.? I doubt it. Maybe Taylor Swift, someone like her, or someone like Drake. Probably not Drake at this point with his relationship with UMG, but some big ass artist on UMG could maybe shift or put pressure on them by publicly admonishing this partnership. I don't know. What do you guys think?
It sounds like UMG bullied them to turn it into a service that nobody even really wants. So it'd probably fail. I don't know. That's all I got for this one.
What do you think will.i.am is going to do? Because there were so many investors, and he was one of them. They put in millions of dollars into this platform when it was just kind of decentralized, rebellious, AI generative piracy site. It's kind of like Napster before Spotify. Yeah, will.i.am. So they had Suno, they had Timberland on Suno, will.i.am on Udio.
I almost feel like I was hearing about will.i.am on Udio before Timberland on Suno, because it was,
Yeah.
but will.i.am, no offense to him, couldn't really, same, I think both of them couldn't really explain what it was, but will.i.am was clearly, evidently using it to play, which he was really encouraging people, like, try new things, do this, collaborate with new people. Whereas I feel like, so it never was like this big hailfire storm. Like, he was doing live demos at like conferences he was speaking at. I think this is super interesting because I'm with you. Like, what does this mean for the investors? Like, are they still partial owners in this? Was there a buyout that UMG got, probably pennies on a dollar? Like, I don't know. This is like clearly like a big bully situation, but the fact that the website is essentially not even functional, like, you can't export the stuff that you make. And then again, like you said, what does this say about UMG artists? Like, how much of this is, like, how much is there of their deal is going to be recouped off of this? Like, does this, you know what I'm saying? Like, not even just, oh, is the money going to flow back to them? Is it now like, okay, automatically 10 to 20% of your deal or whatever, a certain amount of money is going to be recouped because we're going to add your music into this public access library, like Dave said, that nobody wants? Like, what? Like, this is super weak to me. And it's just like, it's evident we did talk about it. We were like, they're just going to end up bullying somebody, taking it over. There's going to be a settlement in place. But this is like when UMG launched their direct to fan website.
Just like that.
Or their super fan website, whatever that was called. I don't know what happened to that, but they spent all that time promoting it. Remember, I was getting ads for that joint. Like, I feel like as soon as I clicked on the one article about it, I was getting ads for like 3 months and then I never saw it again. So I don't know. It's just very interesting to me. I feel like they're going to just try to end up suing everybody who is making something that they can't make themselves, so that they can just, or they're just going to try to keep acquiring it. Like, I'm assuming that, like Mag from Even has been offered to be acquired multiple times from these major labels, but it's like his value proposition is way higher than they could even understand. So it's just like, and he's working with them. So it's almost like, well, we can't consider him the enemy if he's working with us. But I don't know. I think this is very bizarre. I think it's super strange to me, especially because it's like, it's one thing if it was a seamless acquisition, but you shut the whole thing down, disrupted its flow, and now you expect people to come back and build a membership when you've now disrupted their trust with you. So I hate it. I think it's terrible.
Yeah, that you got to figure that's going to kill because people are mad. If you check Reddit, people are upset. They're like, I paid for this service and then they just abruptly shut it down. I missed the download window. I can't access anything. Yeah, I don't know. Dame, do you want to connect this with Eric Bellinger? Because Zanaya Monet is now on the charts.
Yeah, so I mean, just continuing with it's different, but just continues with the AI theme. This is Eric Bellinger talking about his usage of AI, and I just wanted your guys' opinion on whether this is something that you guys would encourage, discourage. But I'm going to play it right now. He's explaining it to on a radio interview.
Yo, you signed 2 AI artists?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
What's that about?
So it really came from me having an overload of songs. So it's like I'm signing them, but I'm also creating them. You know what I mean? Like tailored to what I want it to look like, the sounds that I want it to sound like, but it's still my voice, still me singing. But, I'm able to pitch to different styles of delivery in the music with this tool, you know what I mean? Using it in my favor. It's like, a lot of people are concerned and questioning it, but it's like, yo, you gonna hear that difference. It's still gonna, AI still gonna be slapping better than, you know what I'm saying?
Crazy, bro. I know. Like, we shouldn't be scared of it, but we should be aware of it, and I guess use it before it uses us.
Yeah, there you go. I'm not gonna be the last one, You don't move with the times, you get left behind.
All right. It was a little confusing. It's almost like maybe a manager is encouraging this and he doesn't really know how to really explain it yet. That's how it sounded to me. So he basically said he's creating it. So maybe he's doing different versions of his music. So I don't know if they have different artist names or if maybe it's just a country version or an opera version of Eric Bellinger. But if you guys have any understanding of what he just said, what is your response to his usage of AI?
It sounds like what you were saying, like, that, like, right when it got to the end, I was like, oh, I don't think he understands this. Like, cause it felt almost like he contradicted himself, cause he was like, it's gonna be better, but it's still me. And I'm like, wait, what? Eric Bellinger to me is one of the greatest songwriters of our time. And so I could see him being extremely frustrated because he releases his own music. Then he's writing like smash hits for like Chris Brown and Beyonce and Rihanna. And then he probably has a ton of songs that he's pitching that aren't getting placed with artists he can hear them with. And I've heard him do interviews about it where he gets frustrated because he's like, I'm giving them what their next sound is, but they're still looking for what just happened. So I think he's a visionary. So at first, when I was listening to this just now, I'm thinking, oh, maybe he's just trying to get more of his music out. So he's creating he's building an AI artist to release this stuff. Now I'm unsure. I'm unsure if it's like, is it his tracks that he's trying to release? Is it because his range is crazy too, because his falsetto, he can almost sound like a woman. He can do low end stuff. So I'm like, I'm not even actually sure what Eric Bellinger himself needs. So I'm not sure. I thought originally, right at the beginning, I'm thinking it was because he wanted to release more music and maybe not it be under Eric Bellinger. But I'm not sure. I think it's a very interesting take though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds to me like he's just kind of doing what everyone claims AI. Again, I think he's being intentionally vague when he describes it because he is a creative, and I don't think I don't want to insult his intelligence and say I don't think he understands. I think he probably knows what the process entails, but he doesn't maybe want to give away too much to make it seem like he's not doing enough and maybe compromise people's perceptions of his credibility. Because he's, as Erinn said, he's up here. But it sounds to me like he probably just has a ton of demos sitting around. And because they're demos, and he just finds the prospect of re-recording and probably finding new beats, because a lot of those beats are probably gone or they're outdated. He's just going to run, or maybe he's just running his voice through AI because it wasn't recorded properly. It sounds like he's using AI in a way that, you know how I talked about on last week's episode, where I'm like, if it was just a matter of saying, oh, that's kind of lazy, but I understand, then you'd be a hater to hate on him for doing that. Like, I would never make a video saying Eric Bellinger is destroying music because he's using AI. He's got 100 original songs that he just wants out and he wants to enhance them. And this is something he's trying. I don't have a problem with that. I want to know what platform he's using. Unfortunately, I can probably guarantee you that it's going to be Suno and not like Templar or Kits.ai or some other, or Ace Studio or someplace where you can change your voice and manipulate your own melodies with someone else's licensed content. You know what I mean? So hopefully he is.
So are we all on board for usage of AI where you're a songwriter or a producer and, you know, nobody's rocking with your beats right now. You don't have like dope artists so you use AI to generate the song to kind of show people what it could be. But in that process, you also put it on Spotify and start earning money. I mean, all this stuff obviously is legal, it's fair game, but like would you green light that process? Or a songwriter, same thing.
I can't tell people what to do. All I'm saying is whenever I criticize AI, it's fact-based. It's based on case law. It's based on rulings. It's based on what's been discovered in release documents that are a part of the lawsuits. It's based on actual statements from CEOs. It's based on findings from actual end users. So, the frustration for me is that when I say, here's an example of someone finding a producer tag in Suno's output, and someone will say, well, they don't actually sample anything. Like, there's clear evidence that they are. Or when you discover in the court documents that Suno says, yeah, we've used everything from the open internet, and then someone else adds to the lawsuit, because there are additions to the lawsuit where now Suno's being accused of scraping files from audio and video files from YouTube, which violates their terms of service, to say nothing of copyright infringement. And people are like, no, they don't do that. That's where the conversation gets into this really, I guess, unproductive territory, where it's like, look, just deal with reality. We know what's going on. If you want to dick ride the AI companies, cool. I get it. We worship billion. Like the conversation we were having before, where you were saying, Erinn, when reality hits you, you realize that a lot of these folks who are multimillionaires, billionaires, are lazy and inept, and the hard workers are the ones who are creating their wealth for them. We worship those people. We worship those people at the top just because they have the wealth, oftentimes. So I get people. That's how they are with the AI company. It's like, I don't want to get left behind. I want to be on the winning team. Let me worship AI. We're just not dealing in facts, though. Again, if I were up here grandstanding about how Eric Bellinger is lazy, I would look like a hater. So why would I do that? I don't police producers for using loops. I don't police singers for using any particular tool that's ethical. That's all. But I will criticize something that's unethical.
Yeah, I think like your example, Dame, it's like case by case for me. Like it's almost an oversimplification to be like, are we okay with producers doing this? Because my thing is, if a producer has beats that need to get out there and nobody's really rocking with him, and then he goes on AI and types in a prompt, the source of even the lyrics that may be generated or the sound of the voice is coming from something that wasn't authorized by the person that made it. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm okay with that personally. And then, but as a songwriter, I've seen it. Like I said, one of the artists the only artist I still work with, she uses it all the time. And she's just like, track out, thing and with a B suspended chord with a guitar. Like she's literally talking through every single thing. Like it's a 10-minute walk. And then she gets to the studio and she's like, bounce this to my producer. And it's this fully fleshed out. It doesn't sound incredible, but it's a reference track for her band. I can't say that I'm bothered by that because that takes so much skill to even know how to do that. I just think it's a case by case basis because I think it's tough too, because it's like, okay, but where did that guitar sound come from? Do you know what I'm saying? And again, it's cool because like Payne said, like when it comes to loop machines or like sample packs, different things like that, I just think I'm always kind of erring on the side of a human right. And I think the more that we become comfortable with just being like, oh, it just is what it is. It's open source. It's open source. It's open source. Then we devalue what we're bringing to the table. And we also really, it all comes down to the indies not getting what they deserve. I feel like if you're signed, it sucks too, because I feel like, especially with what we just talked about with UMG, like you're put in a position where you just have to go along with it because you have no choice, because you've signed over your name, image, likeness, ideas, all your entity masters, everything to them. But I don't know. It's case by case for me. I can't do a full opt-in for any example, to be honest.
Cool. All right, let's move away from AI. Erinn, you want to queue up or just tee up your video?
Yeah, so I think that a lot of times people think that greats are great because they just have so much money, or they strike gold and then they just stay on top. And this is someone from Beyonce's team. I think it is her manager or somebody on her management team discussing.
Steve
Say it
Pammy
again.
used to be her manager, I believe.
Okay, her one of her old managers, talking about doing exit surveys after after their biggest tour at the time, so that they could make the next tour even better. And I think like the revelation that Beyonce's team did exit surveys for one of the highest grossing tours in the world, to me, is like, this is why the greats stay great.
On the Formation World Tour, when we did exit surveys, the number 1 and 2 problems that people had with the tour had nothing to do with us. It was parking, bathrooms. The two things that me as a manager, I had zero control over. But we wanted to make sure the next tour, when we went out for On the Run, we talked with every one of the venues. I needed all the bathrooms to be staffed. Because here's the weird thing, going back to profit, the most expensive ticket for On the Run 2 was what we call Club Carter. That's on the field ticket. 70% of the buyers were women. When you think about the way these stadiums around the world are constructed, it's not even 50-50 women to men's bathrooms. And then the bathrooms, the best ones are on the club level in the 200 seats. They're not on the pitch. So we're asking people to pay $2,000 a ticket and then use porta potties? That's absurd. We literally had to go out and contract with portable bathroom companies, bring those trucks in on tour to give people that experience. Same thing with parking. We did a deal with Uber where we wanted to shuttle people at MetLife Stadium from Grand Central because we have so many young people coming to the stadium in the middle of New Jersey. I'm not worried about them getting there at 6 p.m., but how do they go home at 2 a.m.? And so I tell people there's life by 1,000, blessings. There's death by 1,000 paper cuts. You got to pay attention to the detail. Everyone wants to be us at 8 p.m., right? Nobody wants to be me at 5 a.m. at these venues. And that's the difference.
So Erinn, explain to folks like how that relates to like independent artists, what they should take away from it to apply to what they have going on.
As many say, the devil is in the details, and he said, death by 1,000 paper cuts, which is true. I think a lot of times, I come from a DIY scene. Like, I started my career in punk music, and I think that people think if you're like DIY, you're new, you're starting out, that's a reason to cut corners. You may not have the big budget, but you should be just as, if not more, intentional because you're on a smaller scale. And so I loved what he was saying, like, something that my business partner allows me to do, but annoys him to no end, is I won't choose a venue. Like, if I don't like the bathroom situation for a venue, everything else could be perfect. We're not going to do an event there because I'm catering to women, because I am a woman. And if women come to your events, men will always come. And if women come, people will spend money because men will buy drinks for women. Women, if they're having a good time, they'll stay, they'll spend money, all these different things. So even him talking about that dynamic of men and women, it's like, these are things that you really need to pay attention to. Even though I came up in the punk scene and I was doing punk rock shows, I always thought about women, specifically Black women, feeling comfortable there. And I was able to build a career off of really serving people like me in a scene that never thought about people like me. And so I think about independent artists, the way that you can take something from this huge Beyonce thing is, one, exit surveys. I am such a big proponent of exit surveys now, and I never was. In fact, I just, because I was just like, okay, this is something that Comcast does when you go to a huge festival or whatever, and they tell you if you fill out this exit survey, you can get this little fan because you're really hot. But in the last year, kind of just seeing how major of an impact data makes on my business, I started being really intentional about going to get data that wasn't there. Like, not just waiting for the internet or just looking at my ticketing platform. Like, how can I go get more data? So I just actually made an exit survey for my event, Auntie's House. We just crossed 1,000 pre-sales yesterday, which is the most I've ever pre-sold for an event. My goal at the top of the year is to sell 1,000 tickets to an event. I've done that 6 times now this year, and the 6th time here I am pre-selling 1,000. So we're still going to sell tickets at the door, but I made an exit survey. Well, I made a survey that I'm walking around with an iPad, just asking people how they heard about the event. Are they a parent? Do they travel often? Because I'm looking at the type of sponsorships I'm trying to get. things like this help me know if I'm in the right place with my audience. I already know because the tickets are indicating that I'm doing the right thing. But if I get high on my own supply and I'm just excited about the fact that I'm selling a lot of tickets, I miss out on the things that the numbers aren't telling me. And so I think that independent artists, it could be an easy exit survey. It could be 3 questions, or it could just be a survey in person. And I will say that I didn't have them formalized, but I used to just walk around my events and be like, yo, how'd you hear about this? Or why this, why that? That's easy information you can gather from people in person or online. I think also thinking about your audience as a user base versus just fans. If you think about it as a user base, saying, I have a product, these are the people using my product, how can I serve them better? You end up in a position where you're servicing more than just your ego, right? You're building a business around the product that you're developing, and it helps you to kind of move in the right direction. I can't tell everybody exactly how to do it, but I would say be more intentional about being curious about your audience and asking the questions directly and capturing that in some manner, even if you're just writing it down in a journal. I talked to several people tonight. They all seem to really like this thing about me, or they like this song, or they don't like this thing about this venue. You know, it could start out that simple, but from there, take that data, take that information, and try something new. Maybe do an offshoot of something that you typically do. Maybe do something completely opposite and see how people respond. But I think the greats stay great because they're getting the data, but also because they're interested in their audience versus just being like, oh, I'm Beyonce. People are going to show up. They're like, let's make this experience even better for the people that show up. So this was really cool for me to listen to.
That was thorough. Payne, I don't know if you have anything else to add. The only thing that I'll add is, like, I understand, like, some artists don't do these things because they don't understand the impact to the business, or maybe they do understand and they realize that at the moment it'll be very small impact because you only have a small audience, right? Steve talking about this about Beyonce is a no-brainer because a small percentage change in ticket sales is still millions of dollar impact to somebody like Beyonce. So it's more obvious to them. It should be obvious to you, even if you have a smaller business, but you have to understand how that feedback that you're getting should be put into what you're doing so that you can hopefully one day maybe not get to Beyonce, but at least continue to make improvements in your business. That's all I got.
No, all I would say is watch yourself and the people that you partner with. And if you ever hear these words come out of their mouth, I just want to focus on the art, or I just want to make music, run. Because I heard that so many times from the people I was working with. And all that meant was they had no aspirations beyond making music, and then they were hands off. And I was all about strategy because I knew strategy was what led to success. And strategy entails, especially today, everything is data. It entails data collection. So it was as simple as a pen and paper at the merch table. Actually, it's as simple as having a merch table, first of all, because you're interacting with people, staying after the show, talking with people. And then people will be like, well, there were only 20 people there. Then it should have been easy. It should have been really easy to run through those 20 people, having conversations and building connections with them, collecting their data, asking them questions, all of that. Because those people will come back. And if you can't rope in 5% of a 20-person crowd when it's that intimate, what are you doing? You just have to be around like-minded people.
I'll say one additional caveat to what you just said, Payne. And this is not a shot. I'm not taking a shot. I'm just showing the difference. I'm the one who would, since the beginning of time, I would stand at the door, see people coming in, and when people would leave, I would talk to them. I would ask questions. I would hang out, whether I was managing my rock band, all my hip hop artists. I was always trying to understand the people that like their music, but just in general, like, why are you here? What is this about? I am currently selling more tickets than any of the people that I've ever managed, right? Like, and that's not just in Austin. Like, when I'm doing just random, like, shows again still in Atlanta or even in Tulsa, it's like, because I've developed an understanding of these markets, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be connected to an artist. It's like, I understand the people. So I understand what they want and what they need. And so I feel like if you're an artist, and even if the music thing doesn't work out, or if you're a producer for an artist, it's beneficial for you to be somebody on your team to be capturing this energy and this understanding, because popularity alone is not going to do this. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, collectively, me and my business partners probably have like 15 or 16,000 followers on Instagram. Do you know what I'm saying? But it's like the movement that we're creating has made this thing way bigger than us, because we understand the people that we're serving. And I think if you're only doing it for yourself, you're going to miss out on an opportunity to grow a movement around the product or the business or the brand that you're building.
Cool. All right, let's move on to the next topic. This next video is 2K Baby doing DoorDash. I wasn't familiar with this artist, but I did look at kind of some of his prior success. Looked like he was signed to Warner. And typically when you're signed, it's easier to get streams because they have interesting ways to run them up. And then when artists get off the major labels, you typically see a huge dip. So this is 2K Baby getting confronted in a restaurant, supposedly working for DoorDash, and I guess that kind of gives you an idea of what I think is going on, but I'm going to play.
2K Baby in this bitch. Hold on, bro. Hey, bro. You 2K Baby, ain't it?
Yeah, man.
You be rapping and shit, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
But y'all had DoorDashing and shit, bro.
This nigga DoorDashing.
This nigga DoorDashing, bro. Damn, y'all had him fell off and shit, man.
Bro, mind your business, you hear me?
Damn, bro, we can't get no picture, bro.
Yeah. Get a picture, man.
Hey, man, let's get a picture right quick, though, gang. Oh, God, your ass fell off, twin. Twin ass driving a fucking Hyundai, man. What the fuck?
Bro, you ain't driving shit, though.
Go
get some money, nigga.
Man, get money? Nigga, I don't need no money, nigga. I got it farm me, nigga.
All right, let's go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and address this shit. I know a lot of y'all probably seen the video going around, you know, them two niggas walking up on a nigga in American Deli. And yeah, that was me DoorDashing, gang. Shit, I'm gonna keep it a bean like 100. Like, nigga gonna do what he gotta do. You feel me? Motherfuckers ain't really streaming the music right now how I would like them to be. You know what I mean? I'm a grown ass man. I'm gonna go get it by any means. You know, I do a lot of other shit outside of DoorDashing too. Like, I hustle, you know, I go get it. I ain't got no shame. I ain't got no pride problem.
All right. Again, I don't know this cat, and I'd be a hypocrite if I said for sure this is fake. I believe that was, my opinion is, just working with actors now, I see a very poor acting job in DoorDash. It seems like he set that up because videos like this now get a lot of support. And if you go under the video, you know, everybody's like, oh man, you a real one, you know. So I apologize if I'm wrong, just my spidey senses. And now again, working with actors, like, I think this is set up. But let's do both scenarios. In first scenario, let's just assume this is real. Grade him for how he handled this situation.
If it was real, he got an A+.
I'm rewatching the video because I'm with I thought it was legit at first, but you saying that, I'm like, the edits and the angle look really it's like it's like, you know, their whole, you could see it's like a vertical phone, but it's cut. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not like somebody just followed him around. It's like, whatever. So the edits are interesting now that I see that. But also, he's super fresh. Like, I don't know anybody who dresses that nice to DoorDash. Like, he's super fresh. Hair is freshly twisted. He's in a full fit, like jacket, pants, shoes, jewelry even on. Do you know what I'm saying? And anybody who lives in any, I'm not even gonna just say hood, like, I wouldn't walk around anywhere with that much jewelry on DoorDashing. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, because even a lot of rappers, they're like, when I'm out with my family, I don't wear this type of jewelry. I'm just out when I'm out with it, like when I'm supposed to be a rapper. So now I'm like, dang, I didn't think so, because I'm like, oh yeah, he's owning it. He's like, he just gotta, but no, I don't know. I think it could be Cause he had the way he was just kind of holding the little bag. It looked like it was empty. Like his homeboy gave him. Dang, I be wanting to believe that people are solid, but I think I got too. That's actually super smart though, cause like you said, it's gonna stir up some interest, or maybe it's like he's about to drop a song called Doordashing, or maybe he's trying to work a brand deal with DoorDash, so they're just trying stuff. But I do know kids will do anything for attention. We see it on Twitch all the time, Snapchat. Them kids be going wild. I'm so grateful that I don't have either of those apps on my phone directly. So I don't know. I think it's super smart, and I rock with Kid. If he's really doing it, he fresh. I think it's cool if he's really doing it. But if he's not, I think it's an interesting, because most people don't go the humble route. Most people try to go the I'm going to borrow all the jewelry and look super flashy. And then honestly, his Hyundai was very nice. It looked like a brand new one. I didn't even know that was a Hyundai. So either way, I think he's winning. I respect either move, to be honest, but I think I got. I didn't realize it was fake.
Well, at least it wasn't Sora.
It wasn't who?
Sora, what everyone else is
using. Yeah. The couple of giveaways for me was one, just the acting. I didn't think his reaction to somebody confronting him was genuine, right? Like, either you're going to be very visibly annoyed and not in a way that you can just kind of act, or maybe you even play into it, and I don't know, but we've seen these stories of this actually happening. What's the gentleman's name that used to be on, I don't think anybody's going to remember his name, that used to be on the Cosby Show? There was like a big thing when he was on, where he had to get a job working at Trader Joe's. He played, is it Denise's husband, maybe? Anyway, there was
Jeffrey Owens.
Was that?
Jeffrey Owens.
So he really was working at Trader Joe's, and somebody confronted him and was like, "Yo, how could you have been on the Cosby Show now working at Trader Joe's?" And since then, that went viral, and then he got a couple like new acting. I think 50 Cent put him in something, and he got. So I think people have seen the positive things that can happen when you're in these predicaments and they go viral. So I think now people are trying to create them. If this is completely genuine, I apologize, 2K baby. But either way, I think you accomplished what you wanted to accomplish. You got some attention. Hopefully, you followed up with a song, and it's a win no matter how this actually.
Do you see his Instagram name is Too Lost? I thought that was funny when I went on his Instagram.
I saw he had a project called Too Lost. I didn't know his Instagram name was Too Lost. But okay, let's get into our.
You know what's interesting though? To me,
what's that?
The cultural shift where maybe as the economy just goes to hell, people now are not expecting artists to all be rich, because it's really stupid to look at an artist who was once buzzing and then, years later, like what happened with Roscoe Dash with the whole Uber thing. That was the opposite. And he was denying it. He's like, no, that wasn't even me in that car. I was just loaning my car to someone that was doing it, and then people were clowning him for, oh, you got an Uber. How could you? And now it's like, I think everyone's feeling threatened financially. So they're like, all right, let me just humble myself and stop treating these artists as though it's a given that they're going to not only be wealthy, because a lot of artists aren't wealthy. They get a little money, and that money can go by very quickly with the expenses associated with being a superstar. With the types of deals they sign. But it's just, like what happened with McConan. No one's clowning him now. It doesn't seem like. I never saw that. And we got to talk about that. We got to talk about the Boss Man D-Lo stuff maybe next week.
I saw McConan like last week in Erewhon.
Oh.
Okay. He getting that money if he had Erewhon. What?
I swear to God,
it's $20 just to walk into that store.
I swear to God, I saw that cat. I was checking out because their food, I mean, it's expensive, but like they're like hot food. It's all organic, and it's you got to pay a super premium just to eat real food these days.
Well, he's a chef.
$21 for 5 pieces of buffalo cauliflower.
There's actually a couple things in there that aren't that bad. Like we get like these there's like this barbecue chicken pizzas in like the refrigerated section where you could just pop them in the oven for like 5 minutes, and you get like three of them for $16.50.
See, that's your LA talking. Your LA is showing, because 3 for $16.50 sounds crazy to me.
What a like I only eat one for every, like if I go home for lunch, like I won't eat all 3. I'll just eat one. So
a single slice.
It's like a little they're like 3 little pizzas.
Oh, like a personal pan pizza.
Yeah.
I'm still saying your LA is showing, because 16 whatever is still crazy. I paid $4.50 for an individual bag of chips in there, and I was like, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm super done.
It's super expensive. Like the smoothies are gonna hit you for like 20, 21, something like that. I think they had like a chocolate strawberry or just a strawberry. Sometimes they really go extra to try to go viral with the ridiculous price. But I don't really ever stop people, or I might say what's up if I see somebody that's like famous, but just because he came up in our conversations prior, I was like, oh shit, that's McConan in line. So yeah, he must be doing okay if he probably.
Well, he's living in LA for one thing.
Yeah, I don't have a membership. We just go there every once in a while.
I didn't even know they had memberships there. See, your LA showing again. That's crazy.
All right, last topic. Let's get into Nic D recently on my guy Mauricio's Manager's Playbook podcast, and he's talking about his master. He talked about a lot of things. I mean, I think he takes a very practical approach to things. Nic, I think part of his success was him being a photographer prior to like really going hard on the music. So just having an eye, you'll find that a lot, whether you used to be a videographer, used to act. A lot of that plays into the visuals and the success of your visuals on social media. So I think that's a big part of why, his TikTok started going crazy. But let's hear him talk about his masters.
I've heard you say that one day you will sell your catalog. Is that the approaching?
Is this where Russ said selling his catalog would be like selling a piece of his soul, right?
Music is the sound of the soul. And you're saying that there's a price tag on it. For me, there's not. And that's not me trying to be fake, noble, or anything. For me, there's not a number.
Hindrance.
How come?
An artist paints a painting, what do?
They sell it.
They put it in a gallery, they sell it.
Yeah.
I'm not putting them all in their house. I don't know. I feel like it's no different. That door will close, and I'm okay with that. Like I said, the point of beating the game is to be free of the game. I think you can live multiple lives inside your one life. Now, maybe for Russ, it's like music. All he knows is all he wants. And for me, it's like, I want to do something else after music.
Yeah.
I want to do the next thing.
So I wanted to play this clip because I've said it a few different times. Like, whether you have the Russ perspective or the Nic D perspective, like it's okay. But I do want people to realize that, like, I like the analogy. I saw Erinn shake her head when he made the painting analogy, but I like it. I like that painters do. They paint and they sell it, right? So just know that when I hear people say like, oh, you have a catalog that your kids can eat off of, and you can pass it down, and you can also sell your catalog, buy hella real estate, and pass that down, right? And maybe the other investments you make would be better than the returns would be better than like your music. You have to make this individual decision for yourself. It's gonna be, you might have a perspective like Russ where it's more sentimental. This is your baby. You created this. You're never letting it go, right? On the other side is like the financial decision and like, how much is this worth? What am I getting now? What do I anticipate it being worth in the future? And you're making a purely financial decision, or it's something in the middle. But all of those decisions are okay as long as you understand what you're doing, right? Like, you don't want to sell your catalog at a super low price, get taken advantage of because you don't realize like how valuable it is. Hopefully you're on the other side of that. You kind of have a better understanding of music and the decay of your music. And maybe you can even get one of these finance companies to overvalue what you have going on and get paid more than you should. But Erinn, I saw the shaking of the head, especially with the painting analogy. So would love to hear you tap in here.
I just don't like art solely being discussed as a commodity, because I think that art has so much more value to the world than just to be bought and sold. So that analogy doesn't work for me, because I represent a muralist, and he does all sorts of paintings and whatever. His house is full of his paintings, and I have his paintings at my house. My new space is about to be full of his paintings. It's like, it's not all. Painters don't just paint just to hang it. Yes, I work with him so we can sell art because he wants to live off of his art. But I just don't like art exclusively, apples to apples. I created this device, it's made to be sold. It's I don't necessarily agree with that. However, I do agree that the Russ position is a very privileged position, because to say that I want to hold on to my art forever comes from a place that he's made money from the art that he's created and kept. There are a lot of artists who are starving and wish that somebody would be interested in buying their art. And so I think that, I don't think that it's black or white, and I don't think you have to be on one end of the spectrum or the other. Again, I don't like art. I love the idea. In fact, the foundation that I'm a part of in Atlanta, is our goal is to make art, or is to help artists make money so they can make art for the sake of art. So we're looking at, how do you take your skill set, we monetize it, but you can just make art to shape the world, to inform minds, to heal people, to help with different things. So I'm somewhere in between. I think, obviously, as somebody who works on the business side of art, the commerce side, I'm looking to make money and to generate revenue, but I have a reverence for the art that it's way beyond just a money-making mechanism. And so I just feel like that's where I don't want to make that comparison so callously, where it's like, oh yeah, a painter makes a painting to put in a gallery. It's like, okay, sure, but that's not the sole purpose. The gallery is so that people can observe it and be struck by it and feel something in the world, to be shaped by that, in my opinion.
Well,
But
this is one of those.
That's when my bad, Payne. But that's when it goes to a gallery. A lot of paintings get purchased and never enjoyed by anybody but the person that purchased it. Even if Nic D sells his catalog, unless they're complete idiots, it's still going to live, and it's still going to be celebrated by his fans and enjoyed by new people that discover him. So I don't know. What you think, Payne?
I just think this is a good time for Dame to make his statement about how Russ is an exceptional artist, and so his opinion doesn't apply to most people, because no, I mean, seriously, he has 11 million monthly listeners on Spotify alone, right? And of the top songs, you would think they would all be from his previous label deals, and they're not. So he's one of those people who can figure out how to make money no matter what. And so that becomes secondary to the art. And he's only ever done art. I've never seen him go in other directions, because he doesn't have to. He doesn't need
he has a shampoo and conditioner now. I don't know if you saw that.
He sure. Well, and then he has this long ass hair, so it makes sense. And he runs it. It's not like a Target brand partnership or something, like what Lil Yachty did.
Good though. Who's ever helping him, the presentation looks really good.
Oh yeah. No, my girlfriend's a big Russ fan, so she was telling me all about the shampoo. But the thing with that is, I just want people to know that look, I can't put myself in Nic D's shoes. I don't know what his finances are. I'm assuming he has enough money to be considered financially free. I know for a fact Russ is financially free. So that means different things to different people. I don't think Russ needs to sell his catalog, because he has enough money that he can, give whatever his future generations need. And that's what I consider financial freedom. And, for me right now, I don't have financial freedom. So if someone's like, I'll buy every beat you've made up to this point for X amount of millions of dollars, I'd be like, yeah, cool, because I will just make more, and I'll be financially free to do whatever I want, not beholden to anybody. And that's what I'm hustling for right now. So Russ got that years ago. So why would he sell his catalog? Why? It doesn't matter. If he has an emotional connection to it, he has no practical need.
So here's where I think Nic D is making a big mistake. If he plans on selling his music and walking away, he needs to shut up and not tell people that, because that's going to factor into the valuation of his catalog. Your catalog is going to be more valuable as long as you're present and continuing to make music, right? His catalog continues to print more money as he puts out more music, because people that find out about him now on the new music are going to listen to the catalog. If you sell and just say, hey, I'm going to play soccer for the rest of my life, or I'm going to build houses or whatever, like, your catalog has a higher likelihood of like a lot of decay. So Nick, if you're listening to this, stop saying this on the podcast. You're going to devalue your catalog. If I would want people to think that I'm going to continue to drop a song every other week for the rest of my life if I'm trying to sell my catalog. And then the last thing I would say about Russ, I agree with you guys about Russ, but the one thing Russ has done to increase the value of his catalog is, one, he continues to be consistent, like I just said, but also Russ has like diehard like strong fan base. And I've even seen this with the Funk Volume catalog. Like Hobson's stuff, I'm sure, continues to do well. That catalog was way more valuable than people that don't have as strong of a community or only make songs for the moment, right? So these are the type of things you need to think about as you build your catalog, even if you want the option to sell it one day, because there's a lot of different variables that can go into the valuation that can increase it or decrease it. But yeah, Nick, stop saying that. Stop saying that. You probably taking $1 million off the valuation. Like, his music does really well, and I'm sure he can get millions of dollars for it. But unless you don't care, he seems just like, hey, it is what it is. It's kind of personality and energy he gives off. Anything else on that? I think we covered it.
Yeah, I just get to the point where you have the ability to have these dilemmas. Do I sell my catalog for millions, or do I sit on them and generate millions? What an amazing spot to be in.
Yeah. There it is. All right, we got through 5 topics today? Let's go for, and we're under an hour. So shit, we might go for 6 next week. We could do it like I don't know if either of you watch Pardon. Is it Pardon Their Interruption or Pardon
I think
Mine?
Around the Horn, right?
Around the Horn, that's separate. Around the Horn is like where you get points for like comments that seem like they're contributing or like, providing a different perspective. Okay. Pardon My Interruptions with Mike Wilbon and I don't know the other cat's name, where there's like a countdown for
it's a timer. Yeah, I've seen that before. I just got it mixed up. Okay.
Yep. So, but I like the Around a Horn too. It would be dope to do a music version of Around the Horn. Would be super dope. Put it in play, Erinn.
I need to go watch Around the Horn so I know what it is first. I just, I have a slight reference for it, but I'm down for it. It sounds interesting. I'm down to change up the format.
So there's one host, and I think it starts with like 4 different people, and there's different topics. And as you weigh in, if he thinks you weighed in a unique or positive way, then you get points. If you say something that doesn't really add value or was stupid, then I think maybe you get no points, or maybe you deduct points. But eventually, like the person that has the most points at the end of the show gets to give like the closing statement.
Okay, dope.
Just to talk about whatever they want to talk about.
We'd have to bring on guests for that though, right?
Yeah, it actually would work really well. Now that I'm thinking about it, now that this came up, like it actually, if you have the right people, it would work really well with a music conversation.
We got to get your boy Ray on here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know. He talks too much for the show. Like I don't know if he'd be able to share. Well, the host is able to cut off the mics. So, yeah, that's an idea that we just gave away. I think it could be dope if it was produced well. But any final thoughts, Payne?
No, thank you for watching. We'll catch you next week with another great episode on the MEC podcast, where we talk it because we live it, and we live it so we give it.
There it is. Peace.
I like Dame's better. It was